As Tony had already said, my name is Ryan. This is Casey and obviously our pilot Larry. As you're well aware, we have newer aircraft now. So some of the things that we do are a little bit different. Where before we would have you do some of the hot loading, so the procedures have all changed. So before, like, we would post our tail rotor guards because we would load from the rear of the aircraft. Obviously now that is all through the side. So bringing you into the aircraft underneath the rotor disc is completely different than what we would do before. As far as the capabilities of the aircraft, everything is fundamentally the same. But the loading system, which is on the other side, it is a little bit different. So those are some of the things that we could cover, showing you how that works. We will, depending upon the patient, we will have you help us load the patient.
Real quick, before we go over that, these handles you can pull out. They're just with levers from the head, so we're not going to smash our hands and stuff. Here's our mechanism, and we have like two ways we can lock this in place with the patient on it. It's this one, and then there's another one that's all the way over here by the door. We really try to avoid this one so that we don't break the door or anything. But if one of us have to get in before the patient's all the way slid in, then we'll kind of move it over this way after the patient's loaded. So.
If we do, for whatever reason, if you're working with one of our air crew and they ask you to help load the patient, it's best to kind of grab by the seat belts and not under anything. That way, as you're loading the patient, it doesn't become pinched or hurt in any way, fashion as you're loading. So it's always kind of best to grab by the seat belts themselves. So as you can see, this is, we would definitely need your help. If we get called for an NBA extrication, whatever the case may be, on the back of one of your squads, we're going to need your cot to get the patient back to. I shouldn't say need to. It will help, especially if we're off in terrain or something where it's a long distance and we don't want to carry the patient, or it's something big or something cumbersome. At least we have the access to your cot to help us wheel that patient to the helicopter.
So we do put our monitor, secure monitor here, the vent comes back secure here if we do have a vent in patient, so all the porting and stuff.
So what are you going to do if it's a lower extremity problem?
Boom. There's a little bit of a walkway here, if you want to call it that, that I could unbuckle and
stretch
and address something that needs to be taken care of. But generally, like Tony was saying, our major concerns is
your main
keeping them alive.
Your main body part that's
So yeah,
really
if we had a problem with hemorrhaging in the lower extremity, we would get that control before we loaded them into the helicopter, and then focus on giving them blood and things like that. That's going to help the blood loss instead of actually fixing it.